a good friend of most everybody in this room, needs a little introduction, but I'll give you some. I asked her to write something for me. Cheryl was a member of our fellowship for 16 years. She and Red recently moved back to the mainland and have joined the Bay Area UU Church. We're happy to have her back, and this morning to lead the program, turn it over to you, Cheryl. You may have to bring that.
Hey everybody, it's good to see you. Can you all hear me? Yeah. No? Who said no? How's that? All right, okay, good. It's good to see you again. I'm going to talk a little bit about Chalice circles, but not very much. Most Unitarian Universalist congregations have what they call a small group ministry. And here at this fellowship, we call our small group ministry Chalice circles. We used to call them spirit circles, but we had some people who thought we were doing strange things. So we changed the name to Chalice circles, which was a little more G-rated, I guess, is what you'd say. I've been leading Chalice, or not leading, but facilitating Chalice circles for a long time. I started out with Jerry Carr. You all remember Jerry. She was doing spirit circles when I joined the fellowship in 2007. And then she trained me in facilitating those circles, those small groups. And then I've been doing that ever since. They're small groups of about 8 to 10. Many of you, I'd say almost most of you, have been in a Chalice circle or a spirit circle at one time or another. But they're small groups of 8 to 10 people, and we meet regularly, either weekly or every other week, and have deep conversations on themes that generally support whatever our Sunday service theme is, but occasionally we'll veer off, and we've had themes such as forgiveness and compassion, grief, death, even regret, those kinds of things. And joy. We've not always gone to the dark side. But our meetings are structured, and so that it doesn't work for everyone, because they're structured so that you cannot interrupt anyone when they're sharing. You cannot argue, or you should not, some people try, argue or give advice. So it's really an opportunity for people to share from their heart and know that they won't be confronted or judged or argued with, but they'll be listened to. So we practice listening from the heart, which is a discipline that takes quite a lot of practice, really, because you always want to tell somebody else how to live, don't you? You know, it's so easy to see what somebody else should do when they have a problem. So we have to bite our tongues often and just listen from the heart. And that's really all there is that I'm going to say. I do want to say that we have 2 groups that meet in person. Suzette Tardif leads a group, and I've led another group on a Monday afternoon. And then we still have one on Zoom that meets on Tuesday. We're on break for the summer, but hopefully we'll start back up in September, or I think Suzette is gone for September, maybe October too. I'm not, she'll be back in October. So she'll start her group up then. So that's that. Let me see if I forgot anything. So what I did for the program today then is to ask for volunteers from the current Chalice circles, for people to share why they joined a Chalice circle in the first place, and then what they've gained from being in a Chalice circle. And I had 5 brave souls who volunteered to share. So we're going in alphabetical order, and as Betts drew our attention to, they're not the names listed in the program. So Pam, you can relax. You're not on duty. So Betts will go first, and then Michelle Bennett, and then Margaret Canavan, and then Stacy Phillips, and Mitch Philpot. And I'd like you to introduce yourselves and tell how long you've been a member of the fellowship, because we have a wide range from longtime members to new members, which I think will be interesting. Okay, Betts.
I don't remember volunteering. I couldn't resist that, I'm sorry. Well, I'm going to use a script pretty much because we have exactly 5 minutes each to speak. So I've timed this. If I go past 5 minutes, go like this. And I'm introducing myself. I've been a member of this fellowship for many years. I don't know exactly how many. And I've been attending Chalice circles and spirit circles ever since they started, I think. And I joined in part to get to know my fellow UUs better in an environment a little closer and more intimate than the regular Sunday service, which sometimes I think is not exactly true. This is quite a wonderful service for people to get to know one another. I continued as I got to know myself better and pushed to really dig deep about my own thoughts, beliefs, and feelings about the topics we covered, like friendship, gratitude, everyday spirituality, and the ones that Cheryl mentioned. This is what I like about Chalice circles. The structure and guidelines really helped in preparation. I knew what to expect, and when I did prepare, I felt I could contribute to the discussion. Having a regular check-in set the tone for each session. This included each person stating how they were today, right now, and if there was anything keeping them from being present, fully present with the group. This was a time to allow each person to check in without adding comments or questions from others. Expectations were clear, and readings enhanced discussion. We had printed readings as well as study questions for each session. Silent meditation was a part of every Chalice circle and afforded each of us an opportunity to consider the questions for that session. For example, the session on delight asked us to consider what gave us delight, and if we wrote in our delight journal. This is something I hope to continue faithfully, as jotting down little stories of delightful moments is not only a delightful experience, but allows me to continue to live it and recall it over time. This is my journal, and here's an example of something I wrote, actually, the very first entry I wrote in my delight journal. It's really fun to find something every day that's delightful. Sometimes you have to push hard, look under things, but you find them. But here's my June 20th. Seeing 3 yellow-crowned night heron chicks in their nest in my oak tree. This is in front of my house. They're getting ready to fledge. And also, my neighbor Steve next door took a picture and got a picture of them all in that nest. These guys were this big, and 3 of them were kind of squinched together in the nest. But that was one of my delightful stories. And now that I read that and reread that piece, I'm reminded about several delights I did not capture, and I'll get to writing delight essays at least daily. That's the goal, to write a delight essay, and it's so it's not a long essay, just a paragraph or more. And the author of the Book of Delights, Ross Gay, said the essayettes serve as a powerful and necessary reminder that we can and should stake out a space in our lives for delight. I'm so glad I was introduced to the Delight Journal through the Chalice Circle. Rediscovering readings that I loved at the time but had forgotten. This is something that I've liked about Chalice Circle. This is going through the handouts of the notes I used to get ready for today. Having the handouts and notes from each session is something I treasure and enjoy reviewing from time to time. One of the greatest takeaways I have from our Chalice circles is how kindness, consideration, and preparation by our leader enhance the experience. Cheryl was a true role model. And now I turn it over to Michelle Bennett, number 2.
Is this good positioning? Okay. I'm Michelle Bennett, and I can't say how long I've been a member. It's been a while, but I've forgotten what year when it happened. You know, time flies. I can't even remember how old I am half the time. And I feel like a real slacker because I'm just up here winging it. I did not plan the way Bets did. I'm speaking from the heart. One of the reasons that I joined the Chalice Circle is because I'm an introvert with anxiety issues, and making that commitment to go be there is good for me, to pry myself out of my house, because I'm not only an introvert but a homebody, and I like nothing better than being in my house. So having a reason to leave and to go be around people is something that I need, and I need the commitment. And so that's one reason. Another reason is that I really enjoy getting to know people, and this is a wonderful opportunity to hear people, you know, speaking their truth, and, you know, listening, and the way we listen, committed listening. You know, I spend so much of my time when I'm having a conversation with someone thinking about what I'm going to say next, or what I want to tell them, and I have to pull it back, and it's like, you know, you're not hearing what they're saying if you're thinking about what you want to say next. And the structure of the Chalice Circle allows me to just shut my brain off, because it doesn't matter what I want to say, I don't get to say it. So no point thinking about it. And I also like, as Beth said, you know, the readings, the thought-provoking readings, and the delight. I'm still writing delights down. I think that's a wonderful thing. So I think that's really about all I have to say. Thanks.
I too was voluntold, but I'm happy to participate, and I appreciate Cheryl pulling this together. I've been a UU here. I've been a member here for 25 years, because I remember the year I joined was the year Stan went on a 3-month camping trip. And while he was gone, I started attending the fellowship. And then when he got back, he had no choice. And I joined because I was a childhood UU. And so I've always been a UU, even though I never hung out, you know, until I got old. So it worked all right. And I've been involved in the Chalice Circle since before COVID. And I kind of in and out. I don't always sign up for them, but and I've put together the ABCs of Chalice Circle. And I haven't timed myself. If I go over, that's just tough. Michelle gave me some time. I'm okay. A, there's some A's that I thought of. Attention. I pay attention. It's a spiritually based focus time. It's an inward focus and a shared inward focus. It's so easy in a busy life, and life can get it busy so easy. It's great to have a time where you pay attention with others. Awareness is an A, of my own thoughts and beliefs expressed verbally to trusted friends. Sometimes I surprise myself. I probably surprise others at times too, hopefully in a positive way. But it's very, the act of speaking aloud, whatever might be in my lizard brain, is always of such interest to me. And to know that other people are listening, and I hope not judging. Okay, on to B, and I will only go through 3 letters of the alphabet. Belonging. It's a small group of people who share common agreement about goals and interactions, and that's been outlined for you. But we're all there for the same reason, more or less, and we belong together for 6 or 8 sessions or however long it lasts. We belong to each other, and it's very meaningful. It's very personal. Those relationships become special in a different way. Behavior is another B. We have a contract with one another that we will share what's going on. We will listen respectfully and avoid interrupting others. For those of you who know me, you know that is not easy for me to not tell you what to do. And I have to hold back. I think we all probably have to hold back because, when you hear other people's issues, you always know the answers, right, for them. If only they would listen, but we can't tell them. Okay, the C's. Commitment. I make a commitment to myself and to the others in the group to attend each meeting when we're able and to share honestly and openly, trustingly, to the best of our abilities. Confidentiality. What happens in Chalice Circle stays in Chalice Circle. I think the only outward example of some of Chalice Circle is the little flags on the back wall, which some of you may know have words on them. And those are words that different people chose that year to be their focus for the year. We would pick a word that we were going to work on that year. Mine was kindness. So I hope that I have done better on that. So if I've been unkind to any of you, please let me know, and I will deny it. Okay, companions again. Companions is another C. We have companions who share similar goals and focus and who listen with respect. Content. I will mention content. We usually have thought-provoking readings or quotes for reflection. And the last C is compassion, which we just heard about, how important it is to have compassion for myself and compassion for others. And I find that the vehicle of the Chalice Circle is a great way to build that. So thank you.
Hello, I'm Stacy Phillips, so I'm pretty new to the church. I joined probably about a year, less than a year ago, somewhere in there. But I too don't remember time either, so it could be 9 months, it could be 4 months, I'm not sure. I moved to Galveston about 7 years ago, and then I started a business about 5 years ago here in Galveston, and I've had my head down in that business for 5 years. So I finally looked up and was like, I've been building this business and now I need to start building a community here in Galveston. And so that is why I came to the church. I had been a member in a UU church in Austin, and so I was familiar with it. And so this was one of the things that I thought of when I thought of what am I going to do to build a community here. And the reason I'm going into this is because I think it kind of ties in because I am newer. It's one of the reasons I wanted to join the Chalice Circle is it was about building a community for me here. The church I belonged to in Austin was pretty big. And one thing, if you're new here, you kind of stick out like a sore thumb because it's a smaller group and everybody knows everybody. So when you're new, and I think the board and the membership committee are really great about being like, hey, you're a new face and we need to get you involved. So I think it was Miss Shirley asked me if, she was like, well, what do you want to do? And I was like, actually, I'd like to do a Chalice Circle. And she was like, okay, well, here we go. And she got me in touch with Cheryl, and I was really excited because it ended up just kind of happening that like the next week or two, I got to come in and join. So for me, one of the reasons I didn't grow up in any church at all. My family didn't go to church. My family kind of was church for me growing up. So for me, church is about, or one of the reasons I wanted to join there's something sacred to me about everybody coming together one day a week, turning, no cell phones. We're all here to just be with each other and do something outside of ourselves, just get out of ourselves for a little bit every week. And the Chalice Circle to me is an extension of that. And that's really why I wanted to join one. And so, the things that I got out of it were definitely a chance to connect with all of the people in the room. If you're a new member, I highly suggest it's a great way to get to know other people in the church, and just on a different level. With my business, I do a lot of small talk during the day. There's a lot of chit chat. How are you? Great. Okay. Next, that kind of thing. So it was nice for me to be able to just take a breath and listen to people and just have a deeper conversation, be able to speak deeply about subjects, so that I got a lot out of it in that way. A chance to listen to people. Again, a lot of times my day-to-day work, I don't get that chance to really sit and listen and get to know somebody else. So I was really excited to do that. And then I know that you guys have mentioned too the reading. I wasn't expecting how much I enjoyed all of the readings that we did, and two, that I bought a lot of the books that a lot of times the readings that we do are excerpts of different books. So I ended up buying a lot of those books and stuff. So it's another way, if you want to get deeper into the things that we're talking about, that you can do that. So I think that's it. But thank y'all. It's been really fun. I encourage anybody to do it.
Well, I don't have any notes either. I'm making this up as I go along. In fact, I taught school for 25 plus years where everything was done on schedules and bells and dress codes and hall passes. And ever since I've retired, I really like making my life up as it goes along. And let's see. Oh, one of the other things I've done is since COVID is now over, I've signed up for Ollie for a line dance class again, and exercise class. I'm starting to exercise again. And I consider the Chalice Circle is basically my spiritual exercise class. And it's really nice. The structure is good. It's not too structured, but there's meaning to the structure. And it really is an art to listen, and an art that needs to be practiced. And that's one of the things we really do in Chalice Circle, is listen with attention and compassion. And that's just really, really important. And what it does is it allows you to say things that you normally wouldn't say to other people. So it's just that kind of an environment. And I really, really enjoy that. And I love the services. They're very inspiring. But if you really want to get to know people, it's the work days, the potlucks, and the Chalice Circles, because that's where you really get to know the members. And I've really enjoyed getting to know the people in the Chalice Circle like that. It's a great vehicle to actually get to know the real person. And we talk about things, that spiritual things that you just usually don't talk about. And I think that's really good. It's just a unique opportunity to discuss compassion, grief, loving, learning, all these different things that you just don't usually come up in normal conversation. So that's really, really enjoyed that. And I thank you for facilitating this. That's been really, really nice. And that's probably about all I have to say. So I've enjoyed it. I'm going to enjoy it some more. And thank you.
Well, thank you, everybody. Thank all of the volunteers, those of you who told on me for twisting your arm. I just want to say, too, that for me to be in the Chalice Circles, I always come away feeling better than when I got there. Do you remember when, if you grew up going to Sunday school, how you hated to go, but once you went, you felt okay, you felt better maybe when you left. But the Chalice circles have always left me feeling more connected, like I'm not alone. I'm not the only one that feels however I was feeling. And so I always feel better having left. So I want to thank those of you who spoke today, those of you who've been in a Chalice circle before. I know a lot of times your schedule gets too busy to commit to a regular session, so I understand that. But I encourage you to consider it again when we start back up. We do start, every time we start a new series, we open it up so that new people can come in. So it's not a locked-in group, that you can't break into. Okay. Does anybody have a question at all about Chalice circles before we go to our closing hymn? Okay, good. Then our closing hymn is